Welcome, mountain bikers. Episode 6. It's hard to believe we're already on the 6th episode of Vital MTB's The Inside Line podcast. I want to thank everyone for sticking around and listening. Hope you're enjoying the interviews as much as I am. It's been a lot of fun to do, and we'll keep this one short. We've got Aaron Gwin up on deck, and he doesn't need much of an introduction, so we'll get right into it. One of the fastest downhillers on the planet, if not ever. Responsible for what I think is an American renaissance in downhill, and just an all-around unique individual. If you like what we're doing with the Inside Line, make sure you rate us on iTunes and tell your friends. The more people they hear, the better. This Vital MTB Inside Line podcast is brought to you by Jensen USA. Shop for great deals and get professional advice on your favorite mountain bikes, components, and riding gear. Over 2 million happy cyclists served since 1994. Visit jensenusa.com/The Inside Line podcast and use code INSIDELINE for 10% off qualifying items. Maxxis Tires. Where the rubber meets the dirt, Maxxis makes no compromise tires for any rider, any trail, anytime. Orbea. Bicycles from the heart of the Pyrenees. At home on local trails everywhere, including yours. Check them out on YouTube and Facebook to find out when and where you can demo an Orbea.
That's my strong point, I've been told.
Speaking loudly?
Yeah, I really have a great job of not mumbling. Being totally sarcastic.
You've gotten better over the years, though.
Yeah, I've tried. Like. Yeah. It's funny, man. I didn't ever think about it. And then I think it's because everybody knows those couple of guys that just talk like a couple volume levels too high, and they like to be right in front of your face when they talk like that. And ever since I was a kid, I've just been really like turned off by that, and I don't want to be that guy. Yeah. So I don't know if it's that and just being a little shy as a kid. I've always been a quiet speaker, and I always feel like I'm speaking up, but then I watch a video and I'm like, dude, I can't. I usually sound like I'm mumbling, like you can't hear anything.
Yeah.
So trying to get better.
Good. I've gone through the same with this too, thinking what I just asked is clear as day. You can understand everything I've said. Yeah. And I listen to it and
totally.
Like I can't even understand myself.
And same goes for facial expressions. Like I feel like I'm a happy dude, pretty much always happy. And I'll see video of me and I'm like, why do you look like you want to kill something? Like, dude, I just have like natural blue steel, I guess. I don't know. I just gotta like try to smile more.
That's awesome. Let's do the interview stuff. We'll do the bike check after.
All right, bike check later.
All right. So
was this all recording just now?
We were.
Official start. Boom.
It was.
There we go. You didn't even know it.
You didn't. I like to keep you guessing a little bit.
It's genuine, folks.
It is. So I'll roll through the intro and then we'll go through the questions. All right. Yeah. Hello, Vital listeners. I'm Sean Spomer, and this is the Inside Line podcast. It's a special one today. We're excited to introduce a new up-and-coming rider that no one's probably ever heard of. The first to break it on the scene. We're kidding. We're here with Aaron Gwin, American downhill shredder, World Cup champ.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, what's up?
What's the haps, dude?
Dude, not much. Just another day living the life, man. I just went to the gym this morning, got my stuff ready, and now we're here.
Nice. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we're in your house. I like this table. It's
Thank
pretty
you.
Sweet.
Dude, everybody comments on this table. I did another kind of interview thing here literally 5 days ago, and the guy was like, well, I really like your table. I was like, thanks. I think it's made from an old, a barn door or something like that. So it's legit, man. Vintage.
Got some character. For sure.
Don't try to eat on it, though. It's super, it's so uneven. You'd just be frustrated, but it looks cool.
It does. It looks super rad. So, should we let the audience know that you're the first Inside Line interviewee to get the questions ahead of time?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's funny,
It's not
man.
cheating? It's not cutting the course?
No, it's not cutting the course. I think I've made a habit of it. Anytime I do an interview, I like to see the questions before I do it, because there's certain questions that it's not that I don't want to answer them. I just don't feel like they're relevant, or there's a difference. You can ask a question that implies a negative just in the question, just by the way you ask it. So no matter what I say, I'm going to have to defend myself against the implied negative. And it's like, and I don't want to do that, because a lot of times it's not legit. It's like most people wouldn't think that negative or whatever. So it kind of just stirs up drama where it doesn't need to just be stirred up.
Yeah.
And then I have to answer it in a way that just kind of like, it's just not profitable. So I just like questions to be positive and happy and talk about things that matter and things I want to talk about. I'm the one interviewing, so I figured I want to talk about stuff I want to talk about.
I think that's fair.
So, yeah, and I think, just wisdom alone over the years of doing interviews, it started back in my first year of racing on a more basic level, which was basically that I just wanted to see the interviews after I did them before people published them, because I realized that a lot of times you'll talk like we're talking now, and then the interview will come out or an article will come out and they'll pick out one sentence that you said and just pop it in there, but they totally miss the context that it was said in, and so it comes across just way different than what you meant. And sometimes that can be a bad thing. It can make you look like a real jerk or whatever. And when you read it, it would frustrate me because I'm like, dude, I didn't mean it like that at all.
Yeah,
and you guys just picked a piece and posted it.
Yeah, especially in text, right? Like you can't hear attitude or reflection or anything.
Exactly. And you can't see somebody's like, I mean, even this, you can't see really my facial expressions and whatever. Yeah. So,
dude, he's staring me down. He's so angry
I'm
right
so
now.
intense right now. But yeah, so it started there. I had a couple frustrating experiences the first year. So then it was just a requirement. Like I have to see it before it goes live to make sure it actually says what I want to say.
Yeah.
And then just now it's basically I want to see the questions ahead of time, so I feel like we can maximize the coolness of the interview.
I'm down.
Keep it positive, bro.
I like it. And you're actually the first one I'm interviewing since the podcast has gone live. Like the first 5 interviews I've done.
Yeah.
We didn't even have this out yet, and so
yeah, sweet.
Yeah. So
here we go.
I feel like it's going to be a tough interview because kind of like you've touched on, you've had a solid batch of interviews, pub. You and I have a bunch of candid discussions that we've posted before. And a lot of your basic details are out there. So I'm going to try and do stuff that, goes a little different. We're not touching on the same old basics that we've always talked about. And,
totally.
Do you listen to any podcasts at all? And have you listened to the Inside Line at all to get some homework?
I have a little bit. To be honest, I haven't listened to much of them. I heard part of the one you did with Stick a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's hard not to listen to that. You're like, oh, we'll see what Stick has to say.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much it so far. But there's some other podcasts. I think it's an awesome idea, and I think it's something that'll catch on. I listen to guys like Joe Rogan, and some of those guys occasionally, like they kind of go off the deep end, but it's definitely parts of it are entertaining, and you really get kind of a realistic look into kind of the behind the scenes workings of UFC or whatever the podcast is covering. So yeah, I think it's killer.
Cool. Do you listen to music when you train and stuff? I feel like I don't know any of that about you.
Yeah, fully. Yeah, it is one thing that I think probably a lot of people don't know is I'm really into music.
You've got a guitar pick necklace right now. I've noticed.
I do. Yeah, I've been getting into playing the guitar a lot this off season. It kind of started with my knee surgery. I've always played the guitar since I was a little kid. I grew up in a family that was really musical, I guess you could say. My dad played the trumpet. He went to college on like a full music scholarship. My mom kind of pursued music most of her life. She played the piano, and she actually recorded some songs and did some stuff. So when I was a kid, music was like 24/7 in the house. Like my alarm clock every morning literally was my dad bumping the Sweet Home Alabama song by Leonard Skinner, blasting it through the house every morning. So that's how I woke up. So it's, music is something that's been something I've always really loved. Just never pursued it on my own because I've been racing. So I would like dabble, but never got serious. In the last couple of months, actually, I started playing the guitar like pretty regularly. Mm-hmm. Like I'm taking an online class now, really trying to learn it like from the foundational level.
Yeah, cool. So rather than just kind of picking, and
like
some
winging
chords.
it, learning tabs and whatever, like try to learn it right and really build a base. So that's been a lot of fun, and I've actually been doing the same thing with singing. So
really?
Yeah, which
Sick.
Would probably surprise a lot of people.
That
but
does, yeah.
I've always liked to sing. Like it doesn't matter if I'm in the car or whatever. I always have music going, and but it was the same thing. I feel like I've got a good ear for it. I just gotta, you kind of got to develop the vocal cord strength and coordination to do stuff. So, Singing Success is the program I'm taking, and it's been fun, man. I'm enjoying it.
Okay, when's the band starting?
Dude,
Is that the goal?
Yeah, I know, not really, but okay. Cole Pichitino and I joke about it because he plays the drums and the guitar, and we're like, dude, let's have like a 2-man rock band, and we'll just make sound effects, noises, and just jam out. But
dude, that's
so we'll
rad.
see. But yeah, so music, man. But yeah, I guess to answer the question, dude, I listen to everything. I always have. Like people ask me like, well, what are you into right now? And I'm like, man, I listen to everything from like Bruno Mars and John Mayer to like bands like The Sword, which is like a full metal band that I love, and everything in between. So it depends. Obviously, I don't like every song from every band, but there's certain parts that I really like, whether it's singing qualities or music or rhythm or whatever. So yeah, dude, music, I'm pretty much playing something all the time.
Oh, that's fascinating. I had no idea. What kind of songs are you going to sing? Like, I know you're just kind of training yourself to just to learn to sing properly, but like what genre do you?
The songs that I gravitate towards are more of like the higher falsetto-y type songs, like someone like Charlie Puth or something like that. Bruno Mars kind of has like a kind of ridiculous range, but I like singing the like softer, higher kind of falsetto stuff. I guess I've always liked that kind of music when it comes to singing, because you can really hear the control in someone's voice, and you can make it do so many different things. So I don't know, and I'm kind of a quiet person, so maybe it goes with me, but a lot of people probably wouldn't guess that. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff I like the most.
That's sick. I had no idea. Do you want to spit something out right now?
Dude, I was just going to say, I know everyone's going to come up to the races now and be like, yo, sing me a song or play me something, but I just started like a month and a half ago, so give me a little more time.
Yeah, and you're supposed to be focused at the race
you don't want
anyway,
me to
right?
even tell you what I learned right now. I'll just be like doing vocal warm-up drills and like stuff, so if you want to listen to like, it's like, yeah, that's all I got for you. But no, it has been helping, dude. It's insane. I think a lot of people think when it comes to singing, like it's just a natural thing, and there is maybe some element of truth to that, but it really is like anything. It can be learned. You have to develop your vocal cord strength, and you'll be amazed if you practice every day for a half an hour, and you just take it slow. You don't sing above your abilities, so you don't hurt your vocal cords. In a couple weeks, dude, like they start to connect, and you make progress like crazy. So it's pretty cool. I think if anybody out there is thinking about, wanting to learn how to sing or has thought about it, like go for it. You can learn it. It's pretty cool.
Interesting. Yeah, that's fascinating. So when you train, do you have, playlists for different activities, or like say, going throughout the day? Like I understand you listen to everything, but you're like, all right, I'm hitting the gym, so I'm going to listen to something super gnar or maybe super mellow.
Yeah, totally. And I think it depends on my mood. On the day, it changes, but yeah, I mean, I'll open up my phone here and I'll read you off my playlist.
All right.
Names. Let's see, what do we got? First one is The Sword. It's basically all their songs. I really like that band. I've liked them. I discovered them back when I used to ride BMX bikes at skate parks and stuff. They've been in like some props, Road Fools videos and stuff like that.
Are they have just like instrumental only?
No, they do sing, but there are songs that are just instrumental. Okay. And it's just like there's the simplicity and like heaviness that they get out of their riffs, and it's something I've been messing around with on my guitar too. It's been fun, but cool. I've got what else I got? Blues guitar. I have sing playlists, so it's all the stuff that I like to sing. If I feel like singing, I put it on. All
right, Nate, read off 3 in the sing playlist.
All right, we got what do we got? Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
Where's the song? I don't know. There's like 7 Bruno Mars songs on here. I do like that 24 Karat Magic song that just came out.
Okay, I don't know.
Pinky Rings Up to the Moon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to look it up.
But
I think a good pop song is highly underrated.
Yeah, dude, it is totally. And that's what I like about him is he definitely mixes like a lot of like old school elements into his music. And when you listen to it, like you can't help but just like get the bump going.
Yeah,
and
Gwyn's bumping his head right now.
Yeah, so yeah, I got that. I got there's a John Legend song on here. I've always liked that dude's songs. Charlie Puth, some of those dudes I just mentioned, those are guys I like. Yeah, I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff on here. There's a Michael Jackson song on here.
Dude, Michael Jackson
so
for
a bunch
days.
Of stuff, but yeah. So, and then I got, what do I got? I got guitar rock. So that's songs that are just like heavy guitar songs. Then I got chill guitar, which is more like acoustic stuff. And then like rock. I even got a country playlist. Old school music, like old school rock. I really like.
Like classic rock kind of stuff?
Yeah, totally. the John Mayer playlist. I like John Mayer actually quite a bit. I know he's popular for some of his songs are a little bit soft, and don't judge me based on the lyrics of these guys' songs, because most of them are kind of out there, but musically, John Mayer is like a pretty incredible guitar player if you follow him, and the way he writes songs and the way he kind of like works his musical skills into his singing and his voice and everything kind of combined is just a cool chill style that I like. But yeah, there's a few John Mayer songs that I've put on repeat on cross country road trips before. So dude, point proven on this table. I just slammed my elbow into that bolt sticking out and just I can't feel my two small fingers now.
He's done. All right, dude, that's fascinating. I had no idea. Yeah, it's cool to know. All right, so we're sort of talking about training, but you first came on the scene, blew up, got huge a few years ago.
Got huge.
Well,
sounds like a gym routine.
Out of nowhere, right?
Swole.
You know, like, Rizal, who's this guy? Where's he come from? How is training different now than, say, 4 years ago when you won your first overall, right?
Yeah.
Like, has much changed? Is it the same thing?
I would say, compared to where it was a few years ago when I won my first overall, it is different. I'd say it's more, it varies a lot more for sure. We change it up quite a bit, and I think every year you learn something about yourself from multiple things usually, that you kind of can put to work in the off season. Like, this really worked for me, this didn't, I enjoyed doing this, and you kind of got to find the balance, because we trained so much for 6 months without really racing that you kind of got to keep it fresh, Yeah. I really enjoy going to the gym and training, so it's not hard like it was for me when I was a kid. Like, I go to the gym more days than I'm actually scheduled to, just because I like going. And I do it because I like fitness. Like, I like to look good. I like to, keep my body in shape. It's more than like just for riding purposes. I think there's some guys that if they weren't racing, they probably wouldn't go that much. I would still go every day pretty much. So yeah, I mean, the training program has changed. I was training with John Tomac when I won my first title, and I was on a really solid program. Now I to train with Todd Shumaluk from Canada. We've been together since 2013. And the program is I'd say it's just more detailed. It varies. There's a lot of different kind of stages and cycles, but I also put in a lot of my own input. So I probably use 50% of what he gives me, and the other 50% I kind of tweak and just do what I want to do. So
really, like, based on how you're feeling or how you feel you need to improve on the bike?
Yeah, I don't have a hard time being motivated to push hard or any of that kind of stuff. So, and he always says the same thing. He's like, you and your body and what works for you better than I do. So, like, I'll give you the foundation and you just run with it. So
is it stuff like actual exercises? Is it technique? Is it reps? And like if he says do 50, you do 100? Like, what kind of
it's things everything. Yeah, on bike, in the gym, everything. Like, I kind of vary everything a little bit. I'll use the gym program as my base foundation like 75% of the time. But I'll vary reps depending on how I'm feeling, or weights, or whatever. And that's really what you need to do to get the most out of it. You can't just, it's good for a younger kid, I guess, to get a program and just follow it, because you will see the benefits, but there's a point in time where you just have to use your own wisdom and really like dig deeper to find like what exactly is going to make me stronger here. Like, there's some days where I'm tired, but I know it's going to be profitable to just, keep busting it that day and like push hard and to push through it. And there's other days where I'm tired and I can tell that I just need a rest. And if I push through it, I'm just going to go backwards further. So, you gain it in experience, I guess. So I would say from now back to when I was like on Yeti, though, the training has definitely changed a lot. I didn't know much back then.
Did you even train back then?
I did, for sure. Coming out of motocross, I always trained, so that was always natural to want to do it. I trained with this guy James out of Colorado, and that was a great start for me. But I was, at the time, my first year, I was living with Darner on that cattle ranch out in Colorado, where we met and shot those photos that one time.
The fedora photos.
Yeah, those are epic. And I didn't have a gym or anything. The lady Taft, Keith's wife at the time, had like a set of like adjustable dumbbells and like some medicine balls. So I would work out in the living room every day and just kind of do what I could and figure it out, and just basically just dug on the ranch all day, building jumps or doing whatever. That was kind of the training.
Yeah, for perspective, this is super rural Colorado, nothing around, nothing to do but dig and work out.
Totally. Yeah. I'm working on like kind of an autobiography interview right now for another publication. And I was thinking about it, and I text Keith and I was like, hey, how big was that ranch? And it was 8,000 acre ranch. Like, it was massive.
It was? Yeah.
And I would pedal my bike, a mile out into the fields basically and build jumps out there and just kind of hang out and train all day and just do whatever. I didn't know anybody else out there, so it was just living on the ranch.
Without crossing over into the autobiography too much, tell the ditch digging story. Like, you're digging septic ditches. We did last year before the YT news. We did the JRA.
Sure,
and we talked about the story, but that one's sick. I had no idea, and that put a lot of perspective into your career and where you came from.
Totally. Yeah, I think one thing that a lot of people don't know, I think there's a common belief that I just went from motocross to downhill, because people ask me all the time, like, why'd you quit motocross and start racing downhill? I was like, well, it didn't actually go like that. I stopped racing motocross at 17, right after I turned 17. So I was still in high school. Like, I had a lot of stuff going on. I was going to go to college. I worked a bunch of different jobs. I did a bunch of different things for almost 3 years before I discovered downhill. So, but yeah, the ditch digging, that was one of the jobs that I had for a spring/summer. I took the job with a good buddy of mine that I would ride BMX bikes with at skate parks a lot. We worked on a 4-man crew. It was for a plumbing company, but technically it was a septic company that specialized in septic systems, which is basically just crap. I'm sure you guys know.
Your backyard,
it was it was an awesome job. But but I mean, it was good at the time. I think I was 18 years old. We made $15 an hour. We worked 10-hour days every day, pretty much. When the sun came up to 3 or 4 o'clock. And we worked in Palm Springs, so it was like 120 degrees. Like, it was brutal. But basically, I worked on a 4-man crew, and our job was to, I guess to back up. Back then, Palm Springs, a lot of the houses were built in the 60s and 70s, so they had septic systems. And once everything kind of got modernized, all those houses swapped over to city sewer systems. So our job was to go in, uncover the old septic tanks, pump all the crap out, literally, backfill them with dirt, and then, and we'd jackhammer the concrete out. Sometimes we'd remove the whole thing, and then we would dig a line from the house out to the street, and you had to dig down at the street like 8 feet. It was called a lateral line, to find the sewer hookup that was underneath the road, and we'd hook the house up to city sewer. So it was pretty epic, dude. Like, just
gnarly work.
Yeah, and we were just shoveling. Basically, we did everything by hand. So I was, just digging ditches, but it was digging lines for septic systems and stuff like that. So it was definitely brutal work. Like, we would go under concrete walls. There was times when we would tunnel under like driveways and all this stuff by hand. Like, I think back to it now, and I'm like, there's no way that half the work we did was like probably even
OSHA approved.
Yeah, but it was I was a kid and I was making okay money, and so it was like you just had to do what you had to do. So
yeah. And then right around then is when you got the call to go out to Darners.
No, that was still a couple of years later.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a whole crazy story, dude. Those 3 years were wild, but when this autobiography thing comes out, give it a read. It's gonna be it'll be interesting.
Cool. I just think that stuff's fascinating because, it's like, oh, you're a tennis guy or a moto guy, and then just rolled into bikes, like, no big deal.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of background from my BMX days all the way to downhill that I think will surprise a lot of people.
Yep. I still watch that King Ride Shop video, and you wall ride 360 out at the skate park. Do you still ride BMX at all, or
I
jump
do
or
a
anything?
little bit. Last off season, I started riding a little bit at the skate park. My buddy James, shout out to James. He was kind of like an integral part in getting me onto a downhill bike back in the day, which that'll come out in the autobiography as well. But he owns King's Ride Shop, which is a BMX kind of specific bike shop down in Palm Desert. And so he actually gave me a bike. He has his own bike brand called Idol that he just started. And so he gave me a 20-inch bike last year. I've always had one, but he gave me a new one. And we started riding at the skate parks and stuff again. But, dude, it's brutal on the joints now and stuff. Like, I used to, 180, 8-stair gaps. And, everything you would do on the street was, to flat. Right. And now I, ride off a curve. I feel like my teeth are going to fall out of my face. But, it was cool, man. It was fun. I rode BMX for basically those 3 years between moto and downhill a lot at skate parks. I went to Woodward for a summer and worked.
Cool.
I learned backflips. I could do tail whips. Like, I wasn't like mega killer. I was more of a float kind of dude, but I was getting pretty good for a little while.
Yeah. Sick. How, at the FTD launch, I talked a little bit about diet, eating in Europe and all that. What's an average day like at home for you? Like, you cook a lot for yourself, right?
Yeah, quite a bit. I think, I've always been pretty healthy. Even since I was a kid. My mom was actually a bodybuilder when I was really, really young.
Yeah.
So when I was a little kid, I used to get up in the morning and she would go to the gym at like 4:30 every morning before work, and I would go with her and like sleep in the locker room or like on the floor while she'd be in there working out because she had keys to this gym. And so we've always been a healthy family. Like a big cheat snack for me during school would be like a homemade oatmeal raisin cookie or something,
Okay. Yeah.
So it's
chips and juice and pudding like
for
other
sure.
kids. Yeah.
And I like junk food for sure. Like, everybody knows that about me, but I've always been pretty healthy. And an average day for me, it's usually eggs and oatmeal every morning. Sometimes I'll make toast or something, but I'll like mix it up. Like, I like to put a piece of ham in my eggs and like, salt and pepper, something like it's got to taste good. I don't like to eat bland food. Then I'll make oatmeal, and I usually have peanut butter and honey and walnuts and berries and whatever, I like load it full of stuff.
Yeah.
And then usually...
Do you think about how it's going to affect your training, or would you just eat that way anyway?
I would eat that way anyway because that's what I feel good on, and it helps me in the gym and everything, but it definitely affects the training positive. So I shoot for a certain amount of protein and carbs, fats, stuff like that in my meals, try to get what I need. But that's usually breakfast. Then I usually go to the gym, and then I get back from the gym. I usually have a protein shake. I do some stuff, and then I eat lunch. And lunch is usually like some sort of meat, like chicken, tri-tip. Sometimes it's tuna and rice, and then I'll put like sauce and avocado or something on it. And then I'll usually and then usually the next kind of like in between meal is whatever I want, like a protein pack from Starbucks if I'm down there or whatever, something like. And then dinners are kind of all over the place, like anything from a salad to like whatever. Those are usually the meals I mix up quite a bit. So I'll eat out a little bit, but eat at home quite a bit. Try to keep it healthy, but I'm not afraid to like smash pizza or whatever.
Sure. And so how do you deal with life on the road and kind of, especially in Europe, kind of like less control of what's available for you to eat?
Yeah, for sure. It's tough, man, to be honest. But thankfully I have a really awesome team around me, and they cater to kind of my dieting needs really well. So I'm on basically the same program that I would be at home for the most part.
So they'll go do research or figure out where to get the ingredients you want?
Exactly. I mean, we cook lunches and have all the snacks at the truck. We have a kitchen inside the hauler. So Paul will cook whatever I need. And then for breakfast, usually we just give the hotel a heads up before I'm coming, like, hey, he's going to want this for breakfast and this for dinner. Like, can you guys make sure that you have it? And so that makes it really helpful, man, because a lot of the places we go, the food is not bad, and if I was there on vacation, like, I'd love to try all the different stuff, but it's made to be like vacation food because you're staying at resorts, so it's like loaded with butter and fat and flavor and all this stuff, so it usually tastes pretty good, but when you're there to try to race, it's like definitely jacks up the diet. So
yeah, I'm sure.
I try to just get on top of it and get what I need.
Would you consider yourself a homebody? Like, it seems like some people look at racing around the world as like their time to see the world, sort of vacation, enjoy it all. Is that how you look at it, or is it business? Like, would you rather be at home?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's. I wouldn't rather be at home for sure because I love racing. I love being over there. That's what I love to do, and I'm fortunate to have it as a job. But at the same time, I mean, home is really good for me. I mean, I live here in SoCal. The weather is pretty much perfect all the time. We've got the beach, the mountains, the desert, anything you could want within an hour's drive. Like, I love it here. It's home for me. So I can do my best training here. My friends are here. Everything's here. So when I'm not at the races, I do like to be here because I can get my stuff done, and I really just enjoy being home. But at the same time, I really like to travel a lot as well. I travel during the off season. I do little trips. I go places. So the racing thing, going to Europe, it can be a little bit tough. I mean, we're not there to see stuff. We're there to race, and a lot of these venues, I mean, now I've been racing certain venues for 8 years in a row. So you basically see whatever's between the airport and the racetrack, and you're there to race, which I love to do. And then you go home and you train, or you go to the next race. So we're not there to like vacation. So if I was, like, sure, I would enjoy it a lot. And we do get off weeks sometimes between races, and I'll go do something fun. Like even last year, we had like 3 days between World Cup finals and World Champs.
Yep.
And we went to Milan for like 2 days. Like I just shoved it in there right in between because I've always wanted to go and like walk around and shop and check out all the stuff. So we got a hotel right there, like in the middle of everything, me and a buddy, and checked it out. So I do like to do stuff like that, but I wouldn't say that it's like, yeah, we're traveling the world and we're seeing all this new stuff and it's this big vacation all the time, because it is, what we're there to do something pretty serious, try to win races. And, but I definitely find time to enjoy it when I can. And it's always fun when we race a new venue. I'm stoked for next year. We're racing some new spots. So I always get excited to do that so you can see something new.
Yeah. Cool. How does racing Fontana and Bootleg prepare you for World Cup competition? Because everyone's like, Fontana, whatever, same old.
Yeah.
But you seem, if you weren't hurt, you seem like you enjoy going out there and
for
racing.
Sure. Yeah, man, I do. I love those races. It's funny. With my knee surgery, I haven't been able to go out to Fontana much. I just went last weekend for the first time for a practice day, and then we had to fly up north on Sunday. But it was just fun being there, like just hanging out in the pits, like talking to people, just chilling. Like that's kind of where it all started for me. So it's I enjoy just being around the track, being around the fans, being around my friends, being able to ride. It's 40 minutes from my house. It's good. And both those two tracks, I know they're not like realistic World Cup conditions, but at the same time they're very challenging in their own ways. I mean, the terrain itself is challenging. Like Fontana and Bootleg both have some of the gnarliest sections I've ever ridden. Like if you've been to Bootleg, like it'll scare you.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it's gnarly, but Bootleg's long, so for fitness it's good. It's challenging to go fast there because the dirt is kind of so wild. Same thing with Fontana. Fontana's shorter, but it has like almost a minute sprint at the end, so it feels like a 5-minute run. It feels like a 20-minute run. I feel like it kills me every time.
So do you use them as kind of feelers for your base fitness to see if things are going right?
Absolutely. I think they're good for fitness, and it's good just to get time in a race on the clock. And they're local races, but man, the local guys, they're fast. Like, so it's hard to win those races. So I don't just show up and like am the shoe-in for the win. It's like, dude, they're tough. I still get beat at those local races, like, almost every year. There is a point, it's funny too, I joke about it, but there was a point in my career, I think in 2012, when I had won quite a few World Cups those first few years. Mm-hmm. And I'd been racing Fontana since 2008, like most of the Winter Series races, almost every year. And there's a point in my career where I'd actually won more World Cups than Fontana races. Like I'd go win a World Cup and then get smoked by like Eric Carter or somebody at Fontana. Like it was crazy. So it's it's good for me, man. The competition's good, and I just enjoy going. So it's perfect prep for me.
Yeah, cool. How do you deal with the highs and lows of what you do? Like, it seems like often you're at the top, but when you're at the top, there's only one way to go, right? You either got to stay up there, or seems like it gets harder and harder all the time, or you got to go down. Like, does life seem bland and boring after a win? Like, how do you handle that? It seems like it would be a mental struggle, and you can see it with certain athletes when, they hit the top and then it's just kind of downward spiral,
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two ways to go. You can go down, or you can just go straight, like stay level,
right,
and keep winning.
Sure.
So I shoot for that. Okay. But
that gets harder and harder, right?
Sure, yeah, it does get hard for sure. But I mean, that's racing, man. And if you didn't love to compete, then I guess that would bother you. But for somebody that is a competitor and loves to compete, that's what you live for. Like, you don't lose a race and go, I'm so bummed, I'm over it, I want to quit. Like, this racing thing sucks. You're like, dude, I cannot wait to get back to the race next week and like give it another shot. And when you win, it's like, dude, bummed is the furthest that you are, like, from, you know what I mean? I mean, you're pumped. Like, these races aren't easy to win. So when I win a race, I'm stoked for months after, like weeks. Like, I'm really excited. So it's, I enjoy it for sure. The ups and downs make racing fun and makes it exciting. And sometimes you go through struggles and you can come back and win. And it's like, it's almost even better. So it's just part of the deal. You know, I've been doing it since I was 4 years old, really, as far as different types of racing. And I know the struggles I've had and the things I've accomplished, and it kind of all blends together to be a, you know, really cool thing. So when I win a race, it's definitely, each one is very special to me, and I enjoy it very much.
Yep. This is going to skip around a little bit, but like kind of similar topic. Do you think about your shelf life as a downhill racer, and let's say the results get, you know, start to fall off, and kind of consistently do that? Do you think about what you're going to do in the future? Like, when would you bow out? You're like, oh, if I lost 3 races in a row, like, time to move on, or anything like that?
Yeah,
does stuff like that cross your mind?
It'd be time to move on now, because I got beat the last 4, but no, yeah, I know what you mean.
All right, if you were 50th, you tried your hardest 5 times in a row.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for one, I think in this day and age, man, there's you know, supplements, there's dieting, there's training, there's so much information out there and things available recovery wise to kind of keep your body good. I mean, you see guys like Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl at 40, what is he now, 43 or something like that? You know, you see a lot of elite athletes, even in basketball. I was watching this dude on the court the other day for the Clippers. I can't remember his name, but he looked like the youngest dude out there. He's actually like the oldest dude, and he was just like killing it. And I think he was like 40 years old or 38 years old. So, I mean, this day and age, I think if you take good care of yourself, which I have my whole life, really, I've eaten healthy. I haven't had any huge injuries either, which has helped. But I think that my shelf life will be pretty long. Like, I don't think it's a stretch. I mean, Steve's, what is he, 38 now? Steve
God,
Pete?
he's like 60. I don't know. Yeah, he's pretty up there.
But I mean, he was just winning a couple of years ago. And like, I mean, if you were to if you wanted to win and put the effort in and took good care of yourself and trained and did everything right, like, I don't feel like it's a huge stretch to say that you could win races till you're 40 and downhill. Like, when you look
even
at,
with how abusive it is, like, and again, like, injury aside, I understand a random injury could take you out.
Exactly, for sure. If you get hurt, that definitely puts a hindering to it. But yeah, I mean, I think 35 for sure is kind of a number I have in my head where we'll kind of see that's 7 years from now. Yep. So if I get to 35 and I'm getting smoked, you know, maybe I'll reevaluate it. But I don't really feel like that's going to be the case. I feel like I'll still be competitive for a long time. And so, yeah, I'll just kind of see when the time comes. So I'm not really sure. I think about it a little bit, but I think, I mean, I'd say I enjoy racing more and more every year. I enjoy training more and more. I feel better every year physically. So everything's still going up. So I feel like I got a lot of time left. But yeah, when racing is over, downhill racing is over, who knows? Like I said, I love to compete. I love to race. So I'd like to probably move into another form of racing, like something I could do at a high level till I'm 45 or 50.
Sure.
So
outside of bicycles, you'd think?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Like, I mean, as much as I'm okay with road biking occasionally, I wouldn't want to do that professionally. But no, I think, I don't know, something like NASCAR is actually really exciting to me. Yeah. Something that I would consider for sure. So we'll see how things go. But right now I'm just focused on what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing, and you know, I hope to do it for a long time.
Yeah. You know, you showed up last year. You've got YT. Everyone was psyched on that. Onza was, you know, everyone's kind of like, huh, Onza, where'd that come from? And we now know you have a signature tire with them. Like, that all worked out. What about TRP? Where did they come from? That seemed pretty left field, you know, for the brakes.
Dude, honestly, I didn't even know that it was a brake company. I knew once they told me TRP is Tektro Racing Performance, I was like, okay, I had a set of Tektro bikes or brakes on my bike when I was like 6 years old, you know, like they're the original BMX brake. But that's their like high performance line. But yeah, basically, Hector Martinez, I believe he's a distributor for like a couple different brands I ride for, or like HT, Onza, TRP. Well, not TRP, but he knows the guys, I believe. He helped me out a lot last year when I was trying to build the team with these different parts and like find the right people. He was like basically like, hey, here's all the guys I know, and you might want to try them out because they got great products, and I think they'd be on board. So he kind of made the introduction for me to a lot of those guys, and TRP was one of those brands. So yeah, man, like we hit him up. I was testing a couple different brands of brakes at the time to try to figure out what we wanted, and we obviously had a budget we needed to fit to make the team happen. So I was kind of like managing all those things, and they sent a guy out here to test with me in Laguna one day, and it was just like the best experience. Like the brakes were already felt really good, but their attitude and their willingness to just do like anything and everything that I would want or need to make the brakes exactly what I want was like, that's what I value in a sponsor relationship, a lot. So and they've just been honestly incredible to work with ever since then. Like they're really quick at making changes, making tweaks, like trying things. We've gone through like all kinds of different stuff. The product is great. I mean, we won the first World Cup on brakes that no one had even heard about before. Right. Now we've got production brakes. So I think as soon as people get on them, they're going to be like, wow, like these things are legit. Like they're awesome brakes. So yeah, that's kind of how that came about. It seemed like it was kind of out of left field, but for me, it was, it was kind of through a mutual connection. And as soon as I wrote them and kind of saw the vibe of the company and the people I was working with, I was on board.
Cool. Considering 2016 rolling into the first race and 2017, is there less pressure this year going to Lords versus last year? Or was last year like no expectation because it's all brand new? Who knows what's going to happen?
I would say last year was more of the pressure year. I don't know if pressure is the right word. I think it was just like anticipation. Yeah. Like we had built this whole new team. We had all these new parts, and as much as I loved everything that was on my bike and I felt like it was going to be really solid, a lot of it had like never been proven at a World Cup level. So I was like mostly just stoked to do it for those brands. Like when we won in France, it was like, YT I don't even know if they'd ever raced a World Cup. So we got them the first win, and Marcus and Stefan were there that day to get the first win, which was amazing. And companies like TRP and E13 and a lot of these other brands that were on the bike, it was like their, I think, probably first win on that level as well. So it was like, it was cool for a lot of people, to be able to do that. And I knew that I could do it, and I really wanted to do it. So I think that was more where the pressure came coming into last year. We had all this new stuff and all these changes, all this testing, preparation. Yeah. You get to the first race and it's like, okay, like it's time to put it to the test. So, and you never really, really know unless you just go race it. So,
and how's this year feel compared to that? Or just kind of like, we're good, we know what we're doing, just focus?
Yeah, for sure. I think this year is a more normal year. I mean, we got a couple of little new things, but for the most part, it's like I know that it's going to work. I know that it's basically just all on me to show up and perform. I know the team's going to be great. Everything's better than it was last year. Like we've made steps forward in a lot of areas after kind of like learning through our first year. So, yeah, I feel good, man. I'm just excited to go race.
When you were making your deals prior to 2016, were you willing to walk away from it all if you didn't get what you thought you deserved?
No,
in terms of salary support, all
right.
that. You and I talked before, and you really felt like what you did is valuable to any brand that supports you, and you kind of had ideas in mind of what you think you should get. And so if that didn't come, what were you going to do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I wasn't willing to walk away from downhill, for sure not. But as with a lot of things, if you really believe in something, and for me, I believed I had a value that was very reasonable, then to really stand on that belief, you have to be willing to kind of lose everything. If somebody doesn't give it to you, it's not like somebody comes back and says, okay, we're not going to pay you that. And you go, oh, okay, well, what will you pay me? It was like, for me, it was like, I really believed somebody would pay me that. And so it did. It came down to it. I was legitimately without a ride for a couple of months, where I was talking to Specialized and we weren't able to come to agreement. And I basically just told them thanks, and that I was going to just wait. I had actually a part of my contract that said I wasn't even allowed to negotiate with anybody for a certain amount of time.
Right.
So when Specialized and I kind of parted ways, I wasn't able to negotiate a new deal for a couple more months. I was just waiting basically. And when the time came, I didn't have any other options. So then we started talking with some people and figuring it out. So
was that stressful to just have to sit there, or were you kind of making a game plan for what you're going to do?
No, I mean, it kind of was a little bit, just because you don't really know. But at the same time, I really strongly believe that somebody would value me just according to what I believe is reality. And they would be stoked to do it, and it would all be great, you know. So I wasn't really stressed about it. It was just kind of going through the process and trying to find the best fit and find the right program and everything like that. So, I think if nothing would have worked out, like if I wouldn't have got what I wanted in January or February came around and I was without a ride, then sure, I would have had to reevaluate and go, okay, well, it's just, you know, I guess it's not going to happen. So what can I find? And then I would have kind of like
privateer it or something.
Or, you know, lower the number or whatever. You know, you'd have to then make a decision, like, you know, because I'd want to race. I wouldn't want to just miss a season.
Right.
But like I said, I really believe that it was a reasonable amount, very reasonable amount that I was asking for, and I believe somebody would pay it. So, you know, to do that, you do have to be able to really willing to stand on your belief and kind of let options fall away.
Yeah. Was there any thought with all that about other top riders and their paychecks when you were kind of, I'm assuming, shooting big? Like if you succeeded in getting what you wanted, how it might impact your peers' lifestyle and possibly make it better for them?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think it wasn't like a goal of mine, but a hope, obviously, is that everybody would get paid their value. And so if this kind of puts things into a perspective or encourages kids to shoot for what they want and what they believe they're worth, then great. I've had actually a couple other kind of top riders and amateur riders contact me in the last 6 months to kind of get some help, because there's not a lot of it. I mean, you'd be surprised where these kids are, and they're trying to negotiate deals and stuff, and they're kind of lost with what to ask for. I mean, there's a lot of that stuff's not known in our sport.
Sure.
So if you look at another sport, a lot of that stuff's publicized, which I think would be probably a great thing, because it would just set it up to where you would know, and it would not be like a big guessing game.
Just more transparent.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, we're not there yet, and it's all pretty secretive. So it's you know, for a lot of kids, it's like, what do I ask for? Like, should I be super stoked on this? I mean, as a kid, when you sign a deal to race mountain bikes, it's like, even if you're making $50,000 a year and they're gonna pay for everything and you're gonna go race, like, you're pretty stoked.
Yeah, heck
like,
yeah.
My first deal with Yeti was a lot less than that. I mean, I was like pumped, dude. Like, yeah. I mean, just to get a free bike was insane. So, but there's a point where you're a professional and you're providing a service that is going to make a brand a lot of money. And I know what I'm worth. So it's like, I just want to get paid what I'm worth. It's a profession. It's a job. I view it that way as well. As much as I like it, that is the reality. And so that's what I shoot for. So I don't feel like I was shooting big either. I feel like I was shooting very reasonable. Okay. I think one thing that people kind of fail to look at is that the bicycle industry is massive. Like, it is $1 billion industry. These guys make a lot of money, which is awesome. Like, it's great. I'm very happy for them. They should. They provide great products, and I love riding bicycles, so I'll buy that stuff all day if I had to. But it's a huge industry. It's not only downhill, you have cross country, you have road biking, which is huge. You've got city bikes, electric bikes, commuter bikes, travel, like, I mean, dude, it goes kids bikes, it goes on and on and on.
Sure.
So a lot of these brands, it's like, dude, they're making a lot of money. So just like F1 or NASCAR, it's like, we're kind of at the top level of racing, you know, like as far as entertainment and certain things in certain ways, and what a bike can do, especially in the mountain bike realm, you know, suspension wise, and the kind of terrain you can ride. So I understand that I influence across all those other categories just as much as F1 or NASCAR. I mean, you can't buy any of those cars, or not even close to it, but they're representing brands that makes those brands cool, and you want to buy the product. You know, Lewis Hamilton's probably selling a ton of Mercedes minivans or whatever. I mean, they probably don't make a minivan, but an SUV, you know, like soccer moms are driving or whatever. It makes the brand cool, and it tests the product at the very highest level. So when you ride in a Mercedes SUV, you're like, well, they're an F1 team, so this SUV is probably pretty capable of like doing what I'm going to do.
Yeah. And especially with mountain biking, I mean, you
totally.
rode a stock frame last year,
so
right?
That's what's amazing about our sport, is it's not like that. Like, you can actually buy the same exact frame that I won the World Cup title on right now online for a couple grand. Like, they make a lot of money, which is, like I said, awesome. But I also want to make the money that I'm worth, just as they want to make what they're worth. So I kind of just understand a lot of those things, or if sought to understand them and have. And I kind of just I really strongly feel and believe where my value is, and I just kind of stand on that belief and just let it work out.
Cool. How'd getting Nikko Mullaly on the mob work out? Because he's been crushing it, and we actually just found out he seeded first at the Pro GRT in Windrock a few minutes ago. But results aside, he seems like, and I've just learned this in the last couple of weeks, his depth, but he's really an ambassador for U.S. downhill racing, especially out east. Just with he's putting on the races, he's really involved in the scene out there. Like, how'd you get him on the mob, and were you aware of kind of all he was doing out there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Nikko and I were teammates back on Trek in 11 and 12, and we got along great, and I saw the skills that he had. I think he's still one of the only dudes that's ever, beat me straight up on a run where I felt like it was a winning run, and, he put 2 seconds into me.
And where was that?
It was, an East Coast National, in 2011 or 12. Dude, that dude rides certain terrains and conditions, insane, and he has a work ethic that is, just one of those ones you can't teach. You kind of... I mean, you can develop it over years, but some kids, you really have to grind them, they don't want to really work hard or, do stuff. Nikko's, the opposite. You have to, tone them back, so that's a lot easier to work with sometimes. But, so, I mean, Nikko and I have been buddies ever since those days. We stay in contact, we text each other, we call each other, we hang out at the races, we race together a lot in the U.S., so I've kind of seen the struggles he's had over the last few years. He had an injury last year, which kind of took him out. I believe he would have had a great year if he wouldn't have had that. And it just came right at the wrong time, right before basically Fort William and the bulk of the races. So, I mean, originally we didn't have the budget for another rider this year. And then, kind of late into that process during this off season, YT hit us up and was like, hey, we'd like to add a third rider and we'll give you a little extra budget if you can kind of find the remainder and make it happen. And I'd been talking to Nikko a little bit because he had reached out to me about a few things to get my thoughts, and so I knew he was available basically, and I instantly was like, that's the guy I want on the team, because I know how hard he works. I know the value, the profit he can bring to a team and a brand. He's already worked with me and Martin and basically the whole team structure in the past, and he really likes it, and we like him. So it was kind of a no-brainer to try to make that one work. So I'm really excited, man. I hope that he has an awesome year with us. I know we can provide him, winning equipment and the best support. Hopefully everything will go his way and we can all stay healthy and have a great season. But I'm excited, and I think what he's doing over on the East Coast, dude, has been crazy. I mean, he's putting on events and bike parks and running all this stuff. It's pretty epic. So it's definitely cool, man, how he's doing stuff.
So before your arrival onto the scene, U.S. downhill racing seemed like it was kind of in a rough spot. We didn't have a lot of up-and-coming riders. It seemed like the race organization wasn't terribly favorable for kids trying to get up. And then, your talent, which is freakish, it didn't hurt your cause at all, but it seemed like you broke the mold of using USA Cycling or, Norba back then to establish yourself on the World Cup. And it seems like younger riders now are able to do the same because you've been an example to them. Do you think about how you've made U.S. racing better? Does it cross your mind at all? And I don't know whether the current governing body is holding downhill back.
I don't know, man. I think it's not something I've ever focused on. I have so much other things to focus on that kind of require my attention. So trying to make U.S. downhill great again has not really been in the mental register, I guess. But at the same time, for sure, it is something that I've helped where I can. When I'm at the races, I talk with the officials often. Even national champs this year, we've had a few issues in the past, and I'll talk to the guys and kind of be the voice of reason and explain both sides. Because a lot of people have a tendency to kind of get heated up and things. Progress stops right as soon as somebody gets mad. It doesn't go forward anymore. It's just a back and forth thing, and it goes nowhere. So I can kind of come in and say, hey, this is where he's coming from and this is why, but these are also where these guys are coming from and this is why, so there is a little bit of a disconnect there sometimes, but it's, like I said, I don't know, man, because it's not really my realm right now. But I mean, for me, none of that really matters. They have a race, they time the race, you can show up and race and ultimately get better at your craft, which is, for me, racing downhill. So that's what I did. I didn't care about politics or any of the other stuff. I was just stoked to line up and race my bike. And if you're able to do that, we have amazing courses. The race series has definitely gotten better the last few years. Everything runs smoothly. We've tried to cater it, or the guys have tried to cater it to be more kind of like a World Cup schedule to prep you for that kind of stuff. So you have everything you need if you're a kid to race and kind of progress. You kind of just got to make it happen. It's not always easy. And especially if you don't have a lot of money, it's tough to travel and go to the races all over the U.S. because it's such a big country. It'd be like flying all over Europe to try to race a local, or a U.S. series. So I understand the struggles there for sure. So hopefully, yeah, things can maybe get a little bit better. I think ultimately prize money and coverage of the races will be what kind of pushes them. Try to keep them more affordable for the lower classes, for everybody in general, basically. Because I mean, you can go to national champs in the U.S. right now. Wherever it is, it's been in Mammoth the last few years, but it's on the East Coast now. So I think the last couple of years I've gotten paid $400 bonus money to win national champs, which is our biggest U.S. race. I mean, we make more than that at the nationals, but national champs is like ridiculously low. I don't know why, but it is. So if you think about the expenses, like, dude, that doesn't even cover one day's worth of like meals and accommodations and gas and whatever. So I get that it's tough, man. It is. It's just, it kind of is just how it is, I guess. So I don't know. I haven't really had a huge part, but I have had meetings, phone calls and stuff with USA Cycling in the past and tried to offer feedback and help out where I can. So we'll see. But the good news is that the series has been getting better. Like it seems like it's growing. The schedule is really good. It runs smoothly most of the time. I feel like everything's really good. Like I really enjoy being at the races. So hopefully it will continue going in a positive direction. But at the end of the day, man, if you're a kid out there, just ride your bike, man. Practice. If you can get to races, whether it's a local race, a national, whatever, just make it happen. You don't have to have the perfect path to get to the World Cups. You just got to develop your skills. So just do that however you can. And if you can get to the races, great. But it's not like if you can't race a full national series or whatever, like there's no hope. Sure. You can make it happen.
Yeah, I think you've proven that for sure. So cool. 29ers in downhill this year?
29ers. I'm hearing rumors, a lot of rumors, that guys are testing them and they're liking them. Some guys aren't liking them, I guess. I personally have never ridden one. So I don't know. Like, I can't really say because I don't know. Right now, my plan is to race my bike as is for the whole season. But if somebody comes out and smokes everybody at the first race on a 29er, like, I guess we'd have to take a look at it. So I don't know, dude. Like, I've thought about it a little bit because I really like my 29er trail bikes. But I mean, I hit my butt on the rear tire enough as it is. So I feel like I'm going to be getting owned if I was on a 29er downhill bike. Yeah. But I'm sure there's ways they can find around that. And I don't know, man. We'll see. I'm interested to see. But right now, for us, it's going to take a while to catch up. I mean, if we had a 29er, we don't have tires or anything we would need to even build one. So it's I'm really stoked with my bike where it is right now. We're going to race that thing. But yeah, as far as the future goes, who knows? It sounds like some guys will try it. So I guess we'll let them sort it out and see if they're successful.
Cool. All right. If it can't be you on the top of the box, non-teammates, who do you want to see up there?
Who do I want to see on top of the box?
If it's not you and it's not a teammate, who do you want to see up there?
Dude.
Besides no one. Come on.
I can't say anything but me. Like, dude, when I look at the top of the podium and I picture that, I see me. That's the only thing I want. Yeah. Like Ricky Bobby, man, me. I don't know. I can't answer that question. I want to win.
All right, there you go, dude. I think that speaks to your focus, right, and your success. And you and I before this started, we were talking about the video series you're going to start working on about believing in yourself. Like, is that how you have to look at it to be that good?
It is not like a mystical thing. I guess to back up the video series, that I'm going to be doing, because I know you probably asked me the next question, so we'll hammer
let's
it.
go for it.
Yeah, but yeah, I've been working on a video series the last couple months. It basically just started. I've had a desire my entire career to kind of help the younger kids out there.
And just kids in general, not mountain bikers specifically.
Yeah,
right?
anybody really. So when it comes to mountain bikers specific, like I've done riding camps and clinics and stuff like that, but to really affect each kid, like I limit the classes usually to 10 people, and it's like a 3-day long camp, so that I feel like I can work with each kid. And that's great. You get a lot of cool conversations with the kids, and they definitely learn and progress as riders. And I love working with them and seeing the excitement on their faces, and just seeing the progress really. Like, cause I remember being a young kid working with my coaches and different people, and just being so stoked when you can get faster and like jump a new jump or do something, and you're like, whoa, like things start to click mentally and you put speed together. So I love being a part of that process, but even more, I enjoy just the conversations I have with the kids, whether it's at the races, the BMX track, if it's a kid at Starbucks, whatever. When you can encourage somebody and just give them a little bit of wisdom, that's this actual wisdom, and you know it's good wisdom, and they can just apply it for themselves in their life and just kind of like move forward. As a kid, you know, I looked up to a lot of athletes, but you didn't get a lot of real wisdom. You might get inspiration in like they were just a hard worker, they had like a great style or certain things about them that was cool, but you know, you'll hear professional athletes all the time like kind of give encouragement, but they usually don't explain it. Like they'll say, believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, you could do anything you want. You can go anywhere you want. And as a kid, you're like, okay, sweet. Like, and you're all hyped up for a week or two, and then you're kind of like, if you're struggling or whatever, it's like, dude, like it's hard to keep believing yourself. It's like they don't give you the information usually that would back a statement like that up, like why you should actually believe in yourself, and why you.
And what does that even mean to some degree? Like
exactly.
specifics?
What does it mean? How would you develop that? Like, you know, whatever. It's like, I know the information, I can give it to the kids. So that'll probably be my first message. Basically, the project I'm working on is just going to be a series of videos just giving basic wisdom like on a regular basis. I'll probably do 1 or 2 a month. I'll probably cover riding techniques and gym exercises and stuff for fun as well, but it'll be centered more around like encouraging topics, and that's the hope, is just to encourage young kids basically. So yeah, I don't know, I guess I'm kind of going in circles. I don't remember where we originally started, but that's the project and that's the hope. I'm super excited, man. I think a lot of kids will be benefited a lot. I've been able to observe and kind of listen to questions. I get questions on my Instagram about stuff, Facebook, like all the time, and I just can't write back to everybody. I'd be on my computer all day, every day. So this is a way that I can really kind of profit those kids, and I can kind of reach out and do something on a regular basis that I think will be, like I said, super profitable. So yeah, I'm stoked.
Do you feel like that's kind of a responsibility as, you know, a world-class athlete, is to respond to a lot of that stuff?
No, I wouldn't say it's a responsibility. I think to each their own. You know, they have the right to do whatever they want with their life as an athlete. Just because you're an athlete doesn't mean you just automatically have to do all this stuff. There's obviously things that I think are cool to do, but I wouldn't say it's a responsibility. But for me, I don't have any of that in there. It's just a genuine like desire that I want to do it. It's something that's kind of been on my mind for a long time. I just haven't really known how to put it in action. I was talking with my buddy Greg, and he was kind of encouraging me to go the video route. And the more I thought about it, I was like, dude, it's perfect, because I can do it on my own time. I think that if you give somebody wisdom, it's kind of like that old saying. It's kind of cliche, but it's true. If you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a day. If you give him a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach him fish, you feed him for a lifetime. It's kind of like that thing. There's nothing in my mind more valuable than wisdom. If somebody gives me real wisdom, it's like, dude, you kind of know, you motivate yourself. You don't need somebody to motivate you. You kind of know how to think through something. You can develop your own belief. And that is ultimately what will drive you to believe in yourself. So, yeah, man, with these videos, I think being able to just give little like nuggets of wisdom to kids and just encouraging them to think it through for themselves, you know, then they'll end up motivating themselves. So they won't need me.
That's pretty cool. I was surprised to hear you talk about that when you showed me your sweet camera.
Yeah, you saw that.
Look out, MTB Photogs, he's coming.
I posted a photo and everybody's like, oh, you're blogging now. I was like, well, I don't, maybe, but that's not what it's for videos.
Yeah. Start to wrap up here a little bit. Where is this question at? If you were to race against a former champ before your time, like Tomac or Nikko or Miles or something, who would you want to race against? And are you even aware of any champs from before your time?
Dude, I know who they are, but to be honest, I was so disconnected from the sport. I was literally like, I went from knowing nothing about downhill, except for that Cody Warren was the national champ because I was buddies with him, to like racing downhill full time in the matter of like 2 or 3 months, like in beginning of 2008. So I don't know. I mean, I know the history now because I've been in it and I've seen videos and I hear everybody talk about it, but I wasn't like a fan of the sport back then. I didn't even know it was really a real professional thing you could do. If I would have, I probably would have started it a lot earlier, but no. So I think if I could pick somebody though, I'd probably want to race Johnny T, old Tomac, because he was my trainer a few years ago. We're buddies, and I've seen a lot of stuff on his career, and I just know him more than I know everybody else. Yeah. And he's an American dude, like kind of went through a lot of the same things I'm going through. We seem similar personality-wise in certain ways, or professional-wise, I should say. And I think it would be cool, like maybe me, Johnny T, in skin suits, smoking down the kamikaze, dude.
That would be
like,
sick on hardtails.
Let's make it happen. We could probably still make that race happen, and he would give me a run for my money, dude. Sure. He is a ridiculous bike rider. Like, blows me away every time I ride with him. Like, how good he is.
Dude, that's awesome. Some non-racers who inspire you.
Non-racers. I don't know, man. I don't know if inspires really the word I would use. I would say I pick up bits and pieces from all kinds of people, whether it's somebody that has like great everything from something like fashion sense, like style, and just the freedom to be able to wear what they want, look cool, and not care whatever. Like certain people like that, or it's somebody that just works really hard, like. I mean, I'm going back to the racers, I guess, but like somebody like Ricky Carmichael, when I was a kid, I always looked up to him because he just had, it seemed like a work ethic that was just ridiculous. He wasn't maybe the most talented guy, but he worked hard and he made it happen and, pretty much dominated. So I always looked up to him when I was a kid. But there's all kinds of different people, singers, whatever, that I think have certain traits or qualities about them that are really cool. And so I guess I take little bits and pieces from all kinds of people, but I don't really have like a certain people that, out there in the celebrity world that are like my inspiration, I would say.
Just kind of touching on that topic, do you feel like you're like Ricky in that sense that like you have to work really hard to be the best, or do you think you have a lot of natural talent and drive that makes it happen?
Honestly,
like I look at someone like Rat Boy. Sure. He wins a World Cup, and to me, it just seems like he's screwing around, but like his natural talent put him in the place he was in, and that's how it was for him.
Yeah,
but some people have
that
to work
kid is
super hard.
Crazy talented, and some people probably have to work harder than others to get where they want. For me, I think it's a combination of everything. I feel like I do have pretty like exceptional talent on a bike. I've just because I started racing when I was 4 years old. I was a successful BMX kind of like factory sponsored kid at 6 or 7 years old, like traveling the country and racing. And we went to motocross and was able to pick that up pretty good. Like I've always kind of had like a knack for racing, and I did it from such a young age. I don't even remember what that process of learning it was really like. Like I just kind of like I learned it and I got good, and it's just like I've kind of maintained it and been able to apply it, the wisdom I need to adapt and get better and get stronger. So I think I do have natural talent, I believe, like a good amount of it, but at the same time I work really hard to maximize the talent that I have and bring it out, so which I think a lot of people can do, and you never really know how good you can be at something unless you try. So I think a lot of people, I hear people say it all the time, like, I'm just not good at that, I can't do it. And I always think like, dude, not true. Like you've never even given it a fair shot. Like playing the guitar, like I've been learning how to play the guitar. It's like I don't have the most flexible, longest fingers, like especially like my pinky finger, it's all jacked up from ramming it into trees at the downhill track over the year. Yeah. But it's like, so at first I do it and I'm like, dude, how do they do it? Like it'd be so easy to go, I could just never do that. It's like, but dude, if you do the drills and you just take it one step at a time, in a couple weeks, like you'd be amazed at the progress that you can make during the process. So it's, yeah, man, if like I said, with a lot of these things, if you're out there listening, you got something you want to do, like give it a try. Yeah, I think you'd be surprised at how you can do it if you kind of start from a foundational level and value the process and try to accomplish each step as well as you can, as perfectly as you can, and see where it takes you. I think pretty much everybody can be really successful at something. a lot of things.
Cool. All right, you posted some to your Instagram followers to ask you some questions. Let's wrap up with a couple of those. I'll let you choose.
Okay.
I'm sure there were some gems in there.
Yeah, I probably should have posted a post and looked at comments. I told them to DM me. So my phone was just blowing up the entire night. I was trying to sleep. And it was but let me see here. Okay. Man, some of these questions are bad. Like, what percentage of sag do you prefer? I don't even know the answer to that question.
All right, while you look, and you don't have to go very long, but we did the feature on your Anza Aquila.
Sure.
And you and John Hall said that you could tell 1 PSI difference in your tire, on one run. Like, hey, it's 1 PSI too low.
Yeah.
I posted that, and someone commented, and they're just like, come on, that's just buggy. No one can feel it. Could you really feel it? Like, let's hear it from your mouth, not mine.
Dude, I'll say straight up, I could feel the difference. There's been times, when you get to a race, you got to understand, like, I'm super calculated with my lines and, like, how I do stuff. So I'll hit the same exact rock or same exact corner in the same exact spot every single lap after lap after lap. So if you're hitting a rock over and over at the same speed and you're not hitting your rim, and one lap you hit your rim and you push into a corner and it just feels a little soft, like, we do this all the time. You're like, the tire pressure is a little bit low. We run tubeless, so it's like, they naturally will lose a little bit of air every once in a while when you put a new tire on or whatever. So a lot of times, I'll come to the bottom of the track and I'll be like, hey, can you just check the rear? I'll tell John, can you check the rear tire pressure? Like, it just feels like a little low. I think we might need to add a pound or two. And he'll check it, and it's pretty much always a pound or two low. Like, it's, so I'll even go up a half a pound sometimes, like, for my race run, because I just am like, well, the track's going to be a little bit rougher. I'm going to probably be a little slightly more out of control. I might hit a few more things. I'm like, just like, give me a little extra. Like, so that's maybe more mental than anything, but yeah, for sure. Just based on history, like, when I think it's a pound low, it usually is. So yeah, I would say, yeah, I can feel it.
I'll trust you.
Yeah.
You've had some success with what you're doing, so.
You want me to answer some of these questions?
Yeah, dude, fire off a
All right. You
couple
might have to cut in
do.
between because I got to open each message
yeah, no problem. No hurry.
individually. How old were you when you started racing downhill?
Who asked that question? What's their handle?
Seth Bolton .7. I was 19 years old, just like 2 months from turning 20. So I raced the Fontana Winter Series, or no, what was it? Southridge Classic or something. It's like a one-off race they have in November, which was like 2 months after I got on a downhill bike, or 1 month, I think. I raced that, and then I started racing in January during the Winter Series. So yeah, it was right before I turned 20.
That gives a lot of people hope, because they think, if I don't start when I'm 9, forget it.
See what I'm saying?
Yep.
Spraglow wants to know, when are we going to see a new fat bike video? For you guys that don't know, Mitch and I posted a fat bike video a couple years ago when I was on Specialized, and it's pretty epic. But yeah, I don't know if YT made a fat bike, dude, I would shred it. Like, I think they're cool. Like, I wouldn't want to ride it every single day. But if you live in a certain terrain, like I grew up near Palm Springs in the desert, and dude, the dirt is so soft out there. If you tried to ride a regular mountain bike, like on a lot of those trails, you're going to go nowhere. So a fat bike actually would allow you to ride in the sand, in the desert, and whatever. So I'm always a fan of just riding stuff that's different, because it's just fun to ride something different. Like, I wouldn't want to ride it every day, like I said, but if you get on a hardtail fat bike and try to shred a downhill with your buddy, like, you're going to have a good time and laugh. Like, you can't help it. Like, the things are wild to ride. So yeah, if I had one, I'd do another video.
Nice. All right, one more good one, and then we'll call it. And then you're going to take me for a ride in your Porsche, right?
Yeah, the Porsche. Dude, I just saw that Porsche just came out with a new manual GT3, or it's coming out. I guess you can place orders in like a month or so.
Like full manual, like clutch and everything?
Yeah, because the one I have right now is paddle shift.
And stuff, right?
Yeah, okay. Which I wanted a manual, but they just didn't make it in the new GT3. So I just saw they're coming out with the manual version. So I'm trying to get on that list, because
dude, the Yaris is right out there. It's manual, 5-speed.
Yeah, we can go rip it.
Drive it if you want. I'll let you.
Sweet. Next question. Dude, I'm having a hard time going through it. There's so many of them. Are you ever coming to New Zealand? I hope so. It's funny. A lot of people,
like the whole world's there right now.
Totally. Everybody's been to New Zealand. Half my teammates I've ever ridden with have been from New Zealand, probably. It seems like the raddest place to go ride a bike, and I've never been. So I would like to go for sure. I've got a lot of friends out there and people I know. It's like one of the only places I've never been to. So let's get a World Cup there, something. I'd like to go. I know I could go in the off season or something. I've actually been planned to go a few times for video shoots and stuff, and they like got canceled last second. Or one year I think I got hurt at the end of the year, and like so I've never been able to go, but I'd like to go for sure.
All right, we'll close out with this. Tell us something about yourself that most people don't know. And I think with the singing and the music stuff, that was a big one, but
yeah.
Got anything else?
Oh man.
Or is there anything you've wanted to talk about that no one's ever asked you? That might be kind of heavy for an ender, but
that's a heavy ender.
Like, well, I want
if
to
I
talk
get
about
into
electricity.
That, yeah, we could be here for 20 or 30 minutes. I don't know, man. I think the singing guitar thing is probably something a lot of people didn't know. These videos, I think will definitely put out a different side of me and certain things that people will be able to relate to. The autobiography style interview I'm working on will definitely put a lot of that information out there. So, for the sake of time, I'll go with that. But it's coming. So yeah, I think you'll be able to find out soon.
Sweet. You ready for Lords?
Dude, I'm ready. Can't wait. Let's do it.
You're gonna have your first race. You're gonna hit Fontana. Is that this weekend?
Yeah, I will. So that was actually another question I had. Somebody was like, "Why aren't you racing Fontana?" I had a knee surgery back in January. A lot of people don't know, I guess, so I could touch on it real quick. But I had slammed my knee in the handlebars really hard back in like October, or the end of September. I wasn't wearing a knee pad at the time.
On your moto, right?
Yeah, lesson learned. Yeah, it was like the smallest little tip over literally ever. I had knee braces on, but they didn't have a knee cup on the brace. And I ended up like just trying to like hop off the side of the bike and run it out, so I didn't actually have to fall on the ground. And when I tried to like push my leg across, I slammed my kneecap on the bolt that holds the front brake lever clamp onto the handlebars. And it hurt, like, for sure. It was like when you snap a chain and ram your knee into the stem or something. But after a week, it stopped hurting. I didn't think anything of it. I was riding, training, everything like normal, motocross, gym work for like 2 or 3 months, and I felt great. And then right around the end of December, I had like 2 weeks where I was filming pretty much every day, all day. Like, and we were filming XC stuff. So I was carrying the camera guys' backpacks up the hills for them, like riding a lot on like sitting down. And then Richie came out. And we filmed some stuff for Red Bull that's going to be dropping in a couple of weeks, and we were riding a lot. Todd came, I was training, like just a lot of effort, and like every day for 2 weeks. And right at the end of the 2 weeks, like my knee started bugging me like 20 minutes into my rides, and I was like, man, what the heck, because I've never had knee issues. And it just kept getting worse, so I went and had an MRI done. It turns out I had chipped like a little piece of cartilage, like my patella tendon or something. When I'd hit my knee on the handlebars, like right where I hit it, it was where this little piece was floating around. And as I would ride road bikes or cross country bikes, it didn't hurt riding downhill or in the gym or anything, but it would catch like every pedal stroke, and after 20 minutes it would just really hurt. So they just went in there and cleaned that thing out. And I've been off the bike for like a month and a half, so I just got back on the downhill bike a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, I'll be at the next to answer the original question. That's why I haven't been at Fontana, but I was at the one last weekend for practice. I think I'm going to race the next one next weekend. I'm going to race Bootleg and then the next Fontana National. So I'll be at the next 3. So come say hey. I'm stoked.
Sick. Appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing you out there.
Thanks, guys.
I wrote on the list, don't let America down, but I don't think you will.
All right, I'll do my best. That's for sure.
Dude. Peace.
Bam.
Thanks for tuning in to Vital MTB's The Inside Line podcast. Episodes drop every other Wednesday. Thanks to Jensen USA, Maxxis Tires, and Orbea Bicycles.